Howdy ho, Maplers. It's finally here. I've been waiting for this for a while. Sadly, I'm a bit too high leveled now to actually make use of it on this 250, but it's Yum Yum Island time. I love these BGMs too. Holy smolies. I was a little upset they didn't go for the meme by repeating the Choo Choo theme but replacing it with Yum Yum, but the BGMs in this area are actually pretty solid. Now for Yum Yum Island, I'm kind of torn because it's kind of sitting in an awkward spot. Reverse City gets you from 205 to 220 fairly easily with very little downtime because the quest is only like 20 minutes. Yum Yum Island is like 20 minutes, maybe 25 minutes if you're just holding down NPC chat, but the level range for it is awkward because some of these maps are good and comparable to Latchlin maps, but Rev 3 with Frenzied Spawn is really overpowered. There's only really one map in this area that kinda competes with Rev 3, and even then, I don't know if it's worth going through a 20-minute cutscene, effectively, to get through the storyline just to do it when Rev 3 is pretty easy to get. Maybe it's worth it if you're being cheap and you don't want to buy Firestarter service. That's definitely worth it, because a lot of people in this game just seem to avoid these areas. Like, even Reverse City, I'm shocked. There are very few people in Barrow that are ever in Reverse City. Why? People are still training in Vanishing Journey. Why? But, okay, let's get to the maps. Right off the bat, the Mushbud Forest maps, there's nothing innately wrong with these maps. They have good base spawn, like even without Frenzy, but with Frenzy they have really good spawn, and they're quite compact. So, right off the bat, these are really good alternatives to like the lower tier Choo Choo Island maps. They're not going to be better than your Slurpy Forest Depths or your Biddy Bopple Forest or your river maps for some classes, but they're really good alternatives because those maps are very full very often. And pretty much all of these have good layouts. There are only a few maps in this area, surprisingly, that just have bad layouts overall. Like, all these platforms are fairly close together. The maps aren't exceptionally long or exceptionally tall. There are a few that are, but those are easily avoided because there's so many actually good maps that you shouldn't ever really have a problem finding an area to train here if Choo Choo is full, especially like during a 2x event. That's when most places become just an absolute madhouse to find a map, and everyone just keeps going to the popular maps. But now you actually have very viable alternatives to Slurpee and stuff. Like, all of those early Mushbud Forest maps, they're pretty darn good. They're not the best in the area, but they're satisfactory alternatives. Mushbud Forest 4 and 5 are my two favorites. Like, this one just feels real good. It's great. Has these little platforms over here for Lucid Soul if you're playing in Reg server, or if you're a Kana. Like, these maps actually might be very decent alternatives for meso farming early on for Reboot World. Like, these maps are really well laid out for Kana farming. Like, really well laid out. And the spawn mob density is really quite good. This one's my personal favorite for the Mushbud Forest. I just like how it feels. It kind of feels like one of the Reverse City maps in the Hidden Research Train. It's only got two little top platforms which you can cover with a summon, your Lucid Soul, or Ho Young's case, one of my 8 billion summons, or just let my butterflies take care of it. But these maps are all pretty darn good, surprisingly. Like, they really knocked it out of the park here. Like, there's just no really bad maps. Even 6 is pretty darn good if you just want to rotate it in a straight line and just have like Nightlord Marks, Shadower Bats, Ho Young Butterflies and clones, etc. just clearing the top. Like, these early mobs aren't much tankier than Choo Choo mobs. It's only a couple mil HP difference, so you're not going to be super duper struggling to kill them. But where that changes is in the 190 Arcane Forest areas. And oh my god, all of these, except for one, all of the 190 Arcane Forest areas in Yum Yum Island are absolutely top tier. Like, the layout, the base mob EXP, it's almost comparable to some of the Latchlin maps in terms of EXP per second that you can get here, just training with Frenzied Spawn, or heck, even Kishin Spawn probably. And the map layouts are pretty darn good. The spawn density is great. The only caveat being you need 190 Arcane Force, which is a lot for Choo Choo, but you can get there fairly easily now. Getting Arcane Force isn't that hard nowadays. You got Hyper Arcane Force, you've got Arcane Force for being in Guild. It's a stat that's easily make-upable pretty easy. And if you're a class that wants to train in Rev 3 or something and it's too popular, you can still just stay here, just get your Latchlin symbol for a boost in Arcane Force and come back here. These maps are pretty good. They'll get you into Arcana fairly easily, but with Frenzied Spawn here in Barra, I don't know if they're better than Rev 3 because, as I've said in the umpteen of my 250 videos, Rev 3 is just one of the most overpowered maps in the game with Frenzied Spawn. It's got the most mob spawn of any map in Latchlin, and it's ridiculous. And then, after the Mushbad Forest, we've got the Illard Forest. I like these ones. I kinda like them, I kinda don't. I like the 190 Arcane Force map more than I like the base maps. These ones for me, they just have too many platforms all over the place, and they're getting to the point where they're a little bit too tall for a lot of classes to kill efficiently with spawn boosts. They're not bad alternatives, heck, some of these are pretty good. Illard Forest 2 is acceptable. If you have good AoEs like your Illuminous, you can stand up here and you can just reflection this entire map from this platform. It would honestly be quite good. But for a lot of classes, especially the worst mobbers, this is probably not your best map to go to. Illard Forest 3, more of the same as the first one. Although this one has, like, I might be crazy, but this map feels like it has more spawn than any of the other maps. Just like, as I'm hopping around, look how many monsters are in this map. This is really weird. I don't know, maybe it's just me seeing things. But that map seems to have just like really wonky spawn. And then the best map, my favorite map, Hidden Illard Forest. This is probably gonna be the go-to training one. This will probably be an alternative to Rev 3. Like, this map is that good. Even at 232, I was doing EXP per second for 15 minutes just to compare to what I was getting in Rev 3. This was only 500k less per second than Rev 3. This is a solid map. And 100% I would recommend anyone to train in here, especially since you can start at 215. This map is outright better than Slurpy Forest Depths. It's better than Biddy Bopple Forest. It's better than the river maps. This is just a really good training area. But since I get to 220 so fast, I don't know if I'll be using it all that much on my 250s because for me, and I'm the outlier of all outliers here for most MapleStory players, but 200 to 220 I usually do in one day. Like, I just do it in one sitting and I get to 220. So I don't know if it's worth going through 2 additional areas cutscenes because with Reverse City you just have to do Vanishing Journey and Reverse City. And then you have your map that you can stay until 220. That's only 2 cutscenes. If you want to get here, you have to do Choo Choo Island and Yum Yum Island, which together is about close to an hour. I don't know if it's worth cutting off an hour to just avoid Rev 3, especially when Firestarter service is so cheap for me. I don't know if it's something I'll do for 250s. Maybe if Rev 3 gets more popular, I'll do it, but as it sits right now, I don't know if I'll utilize Yum Yum Island as much as I'm going to utilize Reverse City on my 250s. Illard Forest 4, more of the same. These non-190 Arcane Force maps, these are pretty solid, especially for like weaker players, or if you're just looking to meso farm, because again, these maps are really quite solid for meso farming. The map layout is good, the spawn density is good, and just like the meso bags, and since you're not in Vanishing Journey or Reverse City, the nodestone drop rate isn't lowered. So this is pretty much the earliest area you could start getting decent enough rates by just farming. Illard Forest 5 is one of my favorites for this little section. It's got just a good layout to it, it's got good density, it's got good rotation. It's got a nice little small segment here you can drop a summon on, and then just clear the rest of it by yourself. Pretty solid. But again, Hidden Illard Forest, that's the one to be. That's the one to be at. The rest of these, all just really good alternative maps. Pretty much everything in Yum Yum Island is a good alternative. Then we enter the Fungo Forest. These ones I have like problems with. I have one map that I like, and it's this one, Fungo Forest 1. This map feels quite good. It has really good spawn density, the map layout is really solid, and there's just a ton of mobs. It's a really, really solid map. And they all kind of just go downhill from here, unfortunately. Fungo Forest 2, it might not be terrible for like a Kana or someone with a lot of summons, but this kind of a map layout is just oof. Like, unless you have good vertical up and down range on your mobbing skill, this isn't the best, because the squirrels and spiders are kind of small compared to the other mobs in the area. They are a higher level, so they give a little bit more EXP, but it's not worth what you lose in quality of life from the other training areas. Onward into Fungo Forest 3. Not a huge fan of this one, just like the platform layouts are just kind of all over the place. They're varying heights, they're spaced out differently, they're varying sizes, and all the mobs are split pretty evenly among every platform. It's not really that good in my opinion. Then you're in the final map for the area, that's just a story map. Then you head to the other side, Fungo Forest 4. This one isn't terrible. It's got kind of a wonky layout, but it's okay to just flash jump through and kill stuff. Maybe if you have summons, or again, if you're like a Luminous, you could just stand here and just reflection left and right, easy peasy, lemon squeezy, get that EX peasy. But they're not as good as the hidden Illured Forest zone. Then again, this one I hate because, one, this platform up here holds quite a few of the mobs, and it's hard to get to. And I'd hate to just sacrifice one of your summon abilities to put it up there just because mobs are in an inconvenient area. Doesn't feel great in my eyes. Illured Forest 6, again, it's got a platform way up here. Not a huge fan of just random platforms super high in the sky unless you have tons of summons to take care of them, so booty. And then the final map, the hidden Fungo Forest, the premier Fungo Forest training area. Hint, hint, it kinda sucks. The map layout isn't great. Like, it's a long stretch at the bottom, a big gap between the top and the bottom, and then two dinky little platforms that hold two mobs each here in the middle. So unless you're a class like Ho Young, whose butterflies can just fly up there, or a Night Lord, whose marks can go up there, Night Walker, something like that, I don't think this would be comparable to Illured Forest. Heck, even if you were one of those classes, it'd still probably be worse, because the spawn density seems outright worse, in my opinion. Even if I were to throw one of my summons up here just to take care of this platform and just kill along the bottom, I don't think it would be better than Illured Forest, or the hidden Illured Forest, rather. But it is a good alternative if the hidden Illured Forest gets full, but if the Reverse City was any indicator, apparently people are slow at catching on to these new training areas. They're so good. I'm flabbergasted every time I go to Reverse City, like especially T-Boy's Hidden Research Train. It's always 100% burning. Like, it's always 100% burning. It's one of the most overpowered training maps they've ever released, and people just are ignoring it. I don't understand. Someone help. I just can't comprehend. It's such a good map. And yeah, for Yum Yum Island, if you want to train, Hidden Illured Forest. This map is so darn good. I really, really like this map. But again, I don't know if I'll be using it all that much because it is in that awkward spot where I'd have to do effectively an hour of questing just to start training again. And for those level ranges, like an hour of training is a level and a half for me. So I don't know if it's worth sacrificing a level and a half just to skip on Rev 3. Maybe I'll do it on my next 250 just to see how it feels. I'll probably do it on my next 250 to see how it feels. I need a break from Rev 3. What even is my next 250? I don't know. Well, we'll figure it out. If it can train this map, I'll definitely do it on the next 250. If it can't, we'll put it off until the next 250. Who knows? But that was Yum Yum Island. I really like it. I really like the BGMs here too. Yum Yum Village and the Illured Forest BGMs, those two especially, very solid. Nice little catchy BGMs to train to. Well guys, I hope you liked this video. Hope this was helpful. Hopefully this video will make people look at Reverse City as a decent area and actually train there. Or maybe they'll just train here and forget Reverse City ever existed. and I'm just a crazy person. Who knows? But that's been Yum Yum Island. See you next time.